Hey friends, it's Betsy Rose here. Here's another edition of No Better Time to Sing, my Thursday evening series of concert, song circle, a little bit of reflecting, sharing in community in this time. This was a session that came shortly after the George Floyd murders and the beginning of the Great Uprising. And unfortunately, the recording function didn't properly do its job, and we're missing a lot of the first part. So I just want to warn you, you're coming in midstream with Reverend Amy Roon from Seattle, singing Sometimes I Feel Like a Motherless Child in honor of some of George Floyd's final words where he called out to his mama. And you'll also see the entirety of Afosu Jones-Quartey's wonderful presentation from DC, Amy from Seattle. So you're going to jump in. Just wanted to let you know, don't be startled if it feels like, what happened? A lot happened. But from here on in, our recordings are front to back, perfect, and I'll be putting them up on YouTube. So I hope you get a chance to see a lot of them. Be well. So glad you're taking a chance to look at this. Bye for now.
Like I'm almost gone. Sometimes I feel like I'm almost gone. Sometimes I feel like I'm all way up in the heavenly land, where up in the land, a long ways from home, a long way from home. True believer, true believer, a long way from home, a long way from home.
Yeah, let's just send some light toward Amy in some way with hands and bows. Oh, thanks, Amy. Thank you. Thank you, Mama, Amy. Yeah, thank you. Oh, just need to breathe for a minute here. And I'm so glad to bring into this space that we've opened up so far another voice, another presence, another energy, and another spiritual tradition in the form of my beloved friend Fosu. Fosu,
Hi.
hi.
I'm gonna pull in a little closer so that so that you can hear me a little better. Is that better?
Hear you great, just fine. Just want to
All right.
say that I want to introduce you just by saying that Ofosu and I met through the Spirit Rock Meditation Center family program, where he, after I was for many years sort of music person there, and transitioned out, and to my great joy, who should transition in but this amazing man who makes magic with children of all ages and adults of all ages, and has a very deep spiritual practice and does work with youth in DC and works with the Insight Meditation in DC. and is a hip hop artist. So I don't know what you're going to do tonight, but I am so ready for it. So please take it away.
Thank you so much, Amy. Oh yes, actually, that's what I really wanted to say first. Was thank you so much, Amy, because my heart was opened up in a way that I resisted because I'm sick of having to get in touch with how my heart is broken. But it was necessary. So thank you, Amy. Thank you, Betsy, so much, and really appreciate you
Oh,
letting me be here in this space. Oh, oh, okay. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, you're good. You're
Okay,
good. Yep.
cool. Um, I when I wake up in the morning and I know that I have somewhere to go, I have to consider how my blackness is going to affect the place where I'm going to be. And that is something that people who are not of color really ever have to think about. You're just people. But for me, I always have to be a person plus black, plus male, plus all these other things. And that's exhausting. So sometimes you might see black men and their faces are frowned, and you're like, oh man, these people are just upset at the world. But you don't understand what it's like to have to consider how the way you look will determine the interactions that, the outcome of the interactions that you have throughout the day. So when I'm walking, just going for a walk like any human being would, and there's a white woman 50 meters in front of me, I have to calculate, will I create more distance so as not to be perceived as a threat? Or will I walk faster so that I can just not have to consider this anymore? If I walk too fast, will that frighten somebody? Maybe I should hang back, even at the expense of my own timing. But it's really to ensure my own survival so that I can make it home to my family. When I get pulled over by the police for running a stop sign, and my daughter's in the car with me, she breaks down in tears because she just knows that we're not going to make it out alive, and I have to show her that I'm skilled in this art form of talking with the police, and I have the gift of erudition and Jedi mind tricks over police officers that all young black boys who, if they have fathers who cared enough to teach them, have taught them this art form, the art of talking to the police. And so I say, here's this terrible art form I have. Here's how to talk your way out of potentially losing your life. Don't cry, we'll be okay. And we were. But these are things that people shouldn't have to think about. This is a tremendous burden on the psyche. And it makes you, as a human being, question your own basic goodness. And that's what we are working to be in touch with as meditation practitioners, as Buddhist practitioners, as human beings. We want to be in touch with our basic goodness so that we can share that. We want to believe that we are basically good and that we can share that basic goodness with others. But when your humanity, when your very humanity is called in, is perceived as a threat or a weapon or just less than, it makes you question your own self-worth and your own humanity. And then you have to do the extra work of building yourself back up, learning how to self-care, learning how to be kind, then learning how to explain to your well-intentioned white friends how they can be better citizens. And that shit is exhausting. I just want you to know that it's exhausting. It's emotionally exhausting, mentally exhausting, physically exhausting. But it is our great work. And so what else can you do but work with it? In Buddhism, we're asked to work with what arises, to learn how to develop wisdom and compassion. Our own minds and bodies are the laboratories for the development of these two essential life skills, wisdom and compassion. The tumultuous nature of our own emotional landscape asks us, how are you going to respond to this? How are you going to respond to this thought? How are you going to respond to this feeling? How are you going to respond to this memory, this interaction? How will you respond? How will you respond? How will you respond? If the more you practice, the more you are in touch with yourself, you realize that there are many ways to respond, just as there are many ways to suffer. Sometimes you need to tell yourself, you need to give yourself a kind word and just say, it's okay, baby. It's okay. Sometimes those thoughts get to running and you just need to turn off the light switch. I'm not going to go there. Sometimes you need to put your foot down and say, this is not what I'm going to engage with right now. Sometimes you need to lean in and embrace and say, what is it that you have to teach me? What is it? Thought, memory, discomfort. What is it that I need to learn from you? All of these things are the ways in which we develop more wisdom and more compassion. And these are the ways in which we can bring ourselves into the world more fully in touch with our own basic goodness. One of the practices that reminds us of our power to work with energy and to transform circumstances is an ancient Tibetan practice called Tonglen. Tonglen is the practice of receiving and giving. It's very simple, but quite profound. When you practice Tonglen, you imagine that you are breathing in the suffering of others and then transforming them in the cauldron of your heart into love and care. And as you breathe out love and care. So it's a statement of bravery and also a statement of profound confidence. I'm brave enough to do something counterintuitive, to reach out and to absorb the suffering of others consciously, deliberately. And I know that I'm basically good, and so I can transform suffering into love and care just by the power of my own attention and my own meaningful attention. So then you breathe out this attitude of love and care. As you breathe in, your own ego diminishes because you are putting yourself on the line for others. And then as you breathe out, your own basic goodness becomes more profound. And so Tonglen is very simple. I would invite all of us, let's do 3 Tonglen breaths right now. Take a moment and consider the suffering that goes unspoken in the world. Take a moment and consider the suffering that your Black and brown brothers and sisters endure daily and have endured for centuries. Listening to the anecdotes that I gave you of what it's like to just wake up in the morning and be Black. Be brave, and in your next breath, breathe in some of that suffering and let it land down right into your heart. And then bring your own basic goodness forward, infuse it, hold it like a mother would a child. And then as you breathe out love and care. On your next breath in, breathe in all the suffering that we all must be feeling right now. And transform that in your heart. And as you breathe out that love and care out into the atmosphere, out into your own body, out into all the spaces that need it. Another breath in, breathing in the suffering of all beings in the world, on all sides of every conflict. Transforming that in our hearts and breathing out love and care. This is our great power as human beings. We can transform circumstances that are unpleasant into opportunities for love, wisdom, and compassion if we are brave. The song that I want to share with you is a song that I wrote called I Can't Breathe. I wrote this song 5 years ago after the murder of Eric Garner at the hands of the police. It was also, Eric Garner's death was one in a string of many deaths of unarmed Black human beings at the hands of either police officers or people who were racist. And it is necessary, but also depressing that this song has resurfaced and is still poignant. But I want to share with you the 2 verses in this song, and I'll be ringing my singing bowl. This is an experiment. You are the witness of the first hip hop sound bath. I'm calling it. That's what I'm calling it from now on. So let's hope this experiment works. Okay. So here we go. When I was a baby, mama kissed me and pinched fat. Living in a land where it's simple to lynch blacks. Drinking all alone on a stoop and I sit back. Try to see the brightness in the world, but it's pitch black. Words from the Savior, love your neighbor, is intact. Somehow the translation getting lost in the syntax. You can take the culture, take the clothes, but I've been black. The first time I heard the word nigger was 6, Jack. And homie was 6'2". His skin was the color of kid's glue. I never held the hate in my heart. It slipped through, but it seems the country never got the memo. They just Uncle Ben you, hunt and get you, cops so dead you, take indictments off the menu. Jim Crow back again, Black Brandon Lee shit. I just throw a black fist, pledging my allegiance. They just want to dance though, they don't want to read shit. All they want is Sambo, all they want is Heathcliff. I'm too uncomfortable to be Huxtable. The blues got me down, and the vibe is combustible. The blues got me down, baby, I don't discuss it though. Black in America forever in hustle mode. Blacks killing blacks and it's no prob. 5-0 killing blacks and it's no charge. Ku Klux Klan back again like the home squad. Feel like the away team, advantage is no odds. Some of us take a pill, some meditate and chill, coping with the pain that America hate us still. Some of us take a pill, some meditate and chill, coping with the pain that America hate us still. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. Verse 2. Oh, which bowl will I use? Game of Thrones, it's the King's Landing. Given hell where the winter fell, then we swing cannons. With every moment passing and all of my distractions, feeling like the life I live is haunted by assassins. Spend a dark night under the heavens, enough to utter the question, am I alone or am I under protection? The King's iron throne, I alone flying home. Lay them down on chrome, back palace, white castle, to the sky I roam. Silent poems whispered in a samurai's dream. Granted I seen, battered by the battles I've seen. This is born I, music for sages, through the unusual ages. Now they never question who is the greatest. What is profit to a man who gains the world and loses his own soul? Fo, when that chrome go, then it's closed door. Afterlife, there is the reincarnation. King without a crown or some Ichabod Crane shit. I swore that I would rep it, though the sorest eyes confess it. They don't really want peace, they just polarize the message. But what's the message? All life is precious. My team will represent it until all eyes respect it. I can't breathe. I can't breathe.
Thank you. Just sending great care and metta and love to you and your family, Ofosu. I know you and your children were out at a demonstration yesterday, and there's really nothing to say. I just appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you. Yeah. Thank you. It's very powerful to all be in this space together. Our different lives, our different experiences, being willing to listen to each other, being willing to open. And I appreciate the Tonglen practice very much, that practice to just open a little bit more to what is painful, creates in most white people a fair bit of guilt, sometimes some defensiveness, and to just try to open it up a little bit, kind of let it come in and let it go through. And bring the kindness, bring the love. And right now, I want to bring a little bit of another energy that we really need. And I know a lot of you have sung with me songs of freedom, songs of determination, songs that say what we say yes to and songs that say what we say no to. And this is a song that has a no and a yes. And Amy, I think what I'm going to do, I want to do this with you if you want. Do you want to do this with me? Ain't going to let nobody.
Sure. I don't know if that works on Zoom, but
Well, I think what we'll do is, what I'm thinking is I'll kick it off with a few verses, and then I'll just stop playing because it won't work for us both, for me to play and you to sing. And you take a few verses, and then I'll wrap it up, something like that. This is an experiment, just like Ofosu, bell hip hop, and now we've got tandem. So I don't know what's going on here. All right. So you'll need to mute at first, unless you're not going to sing. Everybody else, you are going to sing with me, and some of you know it. So it's one of the many classic songs from the civil rights movement, the social justice movement. It comes right out of the African American singing tradition. Helps us stay strong. Ain't gonna let nobody turn me around, turn me around, turn me around. Ain't gonna let nobody turn me around. We're gonna keep on walking, keep on talking, marching up to freedom land. That's how it is. And then that's the song right there, except that we zip words in and we zip them out. So instead of ain't gonna let nobody, I'm gonna say ain't gonna let no racism. So that's the only new word. Let's do that. Ain't gonna let no racism turn me around, turn me around, turn me around. Ain't gonna let no racism turn me around. Gonna keep on walking, keep on talking, marching up to freedom land. How about white privilege? Ain't gonna let white privilege turn me around, turn me around, turn me around. Ain't gonna let white privilege turn me around. Gonna keep on walking, keep on talking, marching up to freedom land. Ain't gonna let police brutality turn me around, turn me around, turn me around. Ain't gonna let police brutality turn me around. Gonna keep on walking, keep on talking, marching up to freedom land. Amy, are you ready? You got one?
I don't know if it's particularly new, but I want to invite you. Well, wait, you can't play while I sing, right?
No, you're going to just take it.
I'm going to invite you to sing it with a little bit more drive. Because I got to say, when you do this in a protest march, this is the kind of song that isn't supposed to feel like this. Because this means you could sit here all day. You're going to feel like you're going to fill the room. And if you have somebody else in the house, they're going to wonder what on earth you're doing in there. That's how loud it should be.
All right.
Ain't gonna let nobody turn me around, turn me around, turn me around. Ain't gonna let nobody turn me around. I'm gonna keep on walking, keep on talking, marching up to freedom land. Ain't gonna let no politics turn me around, turn me around, turn me around. Ain't gonna let your politics turn me around. I'm gonna keep on walking, keep on talking, marching up to freedom land, marching up to freedom land. I don't know where you're going with this. I don't know how far you want me to go.
I don't know. How far do you want to go?
I gotta get out of the house.
Well, I think we rocked the house a little bit there. If we woke up a few kids, we'll know we did a good job.
Sure.
Yeah. Let's just. I'm gonna take just kind of wrap it up together. Ain't gonna let no fear. Ain't gonna let no fear turn me around. Turn me around. Turn me around. Ain't gonna let no fear turn me around. Gonna keep on walking, keep on talking, marching up to freedom land. Ain't gonna let nobody. Ain't gonna let nobody. You can do this. Turn me around. Turn me around, turn me around. nobody turn me around. Gonna keep on walking, keep on talking, marching up to freedom land. Marching up to freedom land. Yeah. Woo. Yeah. And if you go to any demonstrations, now that we've warmed your voice up, you take over and lead those songs. You know how to sing This Little Light Is Mine of Mine. Everybody can sing that. And that one, you can just throw in a lot of stuff. All around the police station, I'm gonna let it shine, all around Minnesota. It's like that's a song you can use for any cause, any occasion. So each of you, I now empower you by the power of my long history as a singing activist, Buddhist, feminist woman with the power to lead songs at public demonstrations. You're on. Okay, great. So Ofosu had to leave. He's got small children and bedtime duties were calling, so I'm missing him, but love him so much. Good man. So I want to just say, for those of you that are here for the first time, that this is a special edition of a series that I've just started. I've done one other, the series called No Better Time to Sing. And we did a little more talking tonight because it's just that kind of a moment, and it's what's happening right now. But I'm going to start up again the regular series next Thursday, and it will be much more musical, much more singing, just as radical, just as spiritual, just as everything, but just maybe more songs, less talking, we hope. But this was what I felt a need to offer tonight. And so I'm glad you're here for it. Ofosu said a really beautiful thing, or something that really struck me when he said, we wonder if we are basically good. We want to believe that we are basically good. And I want to commend two resources to you that really address that question. And if I had more time, I would read you some quotes, but I'm going to just tell you the names and then I'm going to email you this information. One is a book by Rebecca Solnit called A Paradise Built in Hell. And it's a book about disasters. She studied 8 or 9 disasters from the San Francisco earthquake of 1906 to the present, Katrina, many others, and disaster behavior, what people actually do in disasters. And she says, she has this phrase, elite panic, which I just love. Elite panic in disaster is shaped by a belief that since human beings at large are bestial and dangerous, the believer, the elite, must himself or herself act with savagery to ensure individual safety or the safety of his or her interests. But in actual fact, what happens in disasters, and this is well studied, there are people who study disaster, that it's established that a great majority tend toward altruism and mutual aid, and a minority whose callousness and self-interest often become the second disaster. And she tells wonderful stories after the earthquake of how people poured out of their houses that were no longer stable, set up tents in the parks, set up soup kitchens, fed each other. People whose houses were still standing, they took them in. And the basic message, folks, is just that overall, we are people who, in a disaster, we do not fight or flight. We tend and befriend. We reach out, we make community. This is who we are, And there's another one that I'll send you a YouTube about. His name is, I always forget it, Rutger Bengden, I think it is. And he's a Dutch historian, and he has just a whole lot to say about the neuroscience and the neurology of how we really are, that we really, really are wired for good. There's just no question about it. So that question the little child asks about, are we good? Are we bad? Am I big enough? Will I be all right? The basic answer is yes, Yeah. So just a couple of pieces of good news from the world, and then we'll move into some more things that will involve you. I love the story of the man in DC when a bunch of protesters were on his street and they were cornered by the police, where he opened up his door and said, "Come in here." And 70 people came into his house and stayed overnight. I just love that. That's the kind of people we are, The DA, the district attorney of San Francisco, who's the son of a former weatherman his father was in jail for a long time. He's now the DA San Francisco, has said that there will be no prosecutions of people arrested for demonstrating who were peacefully demonstrating, and that they're not going to prosecute anybody. The Minnesota City Council chairwoman, a black woman, proposes now and is determined to begin dismantling the police department, not just reforming it, dismantling it. There's many people who realize that policing as we know it is not tenable, and we need a different model. And community policing, or not even that word, community care, relying on community resources, mental health resources, people who can mediate, people who know how to de-escalate, that we'd be much safer with those kind of resources than with armed men who are frightened and cannot manage what they're dealing. They're not managing what they're being asked to do. So I will send you more information about both of those authors. And lastly, I just want to tell you, I keep getting messages from my son, I'm busy. I just want to mention that Esther Konkara, the country singer in Kenya, the single mom that we raised funds for last week, those of you who are here know that we donated much of the donations from last week to this incredible woman in Kenya that I met when I was there, who is a country singer, quite well known in the country, but now with the shutdown has not been able to earn money for quite a while. And I've sent her a little here, a little there, but she texted me a few weeks ago and said, we're okay, we've got food, but I don't have money for diapers. And I thought, mothers should not have to deal with this. So I sent her some money. But then she said, I have so many neighbors who don't have food and whose electricity is cut off. She says, I'm sharing my electricity with my next door neighbor. We're all behind in our rent. The landlords are threatening eviction. So this is what people are facing all around the world. So we raised a beautiful amount of money for her. I sent it over, and she has sent me incredibly moving texts about where that money has gone. And I'll read you just a little bit. She says, there's an old woman near my house who's been sickly for some time now and has no one to tend to her except some relatives I see come and go from time to time. She is one of the first targets I intend to go tomorrow and do some shopping for her and visit her. My neighbor with rent arrears, I am waiting. Oh, no, wait, I don't want to read that. Sorry. I've called my neighbor. This is the neighbor she's sharing electricity with. I've called my neighbor to my house and given her the money. She is called Mama Wambui. She was so shocked and thought I'm joking. She asked me, Esther, are you serious? I told her, yes. I said, you have been on my mind. And I said, if I get a breakthrough, I will remember you. When I handed her the cash to pay her rent, she reached for me and hugged me with tears in her eyes. And then Esther goes on to talk about how she's been praying for her God to make her useful, to make her someone who can help others. And then we answered that prayer. She has said, you all are the answer to a prayer. So take that in. Take that in. Something that you all did last time and can do tonight. The donations are warmly accepted tonight. We're an answer to a prayer. And Esther is an answer to my prayer. She and the women in Kenya that I text with and go back and forth with, they keep me grounded. They keep me in perspective. They get me out of my bubble and they get me into the world. And they help me remember all the goodness that is in people who have very little. So I wanted to share all that with you. And my friends, we're reaching our kind of the beginning of a closing. And what I'd like you to do now is light your candles again, if they're out, if you can. And once again, kind of from all the talking and the singing and the energies and the emotions of the evening, let's just take some few deep breaths and just relax a bit. Move your shoulders a little bit. You've been sitting a long time. Move your body for a moment. Let your face go soft. Take a deep breath of that candlelight. The Foso helped us to breathe in the suffering, the things we don't want to look at, the things we don't want to believe are happening. And we did that to the best of our ability. And now we breathe in that miracle flame that takes what could kill it if there was too much of it and breathes it into beautiful, glowing light. And we're going to sing together a very simple song. We are sending you light to heal you, to hold you. We are sending you light to hold you in love. We are sending you light to heal you, to hold you. We are sending you light to hold you in love. So do sing along with me and really know as you breathe in and breathe out that as you sing, you are sending light. You're sending it to each of us in this room. You're sending it to anyone in the house who can hear you. But I believe in the power of energy. I believe in the mystery of how the intentions of our hearts travel far wider than science could even explain. So do believe that these words matter and these melodies matter. Your voice matters. Let your heart pour out and send it to whoever is in your heart, whoever you want to bless with more light. We are sending you light to heal you, to hold you. We are sending you light to hold you in love. We are sending you light to heal you, to hold you. We are sending you light to hold you in love. I'm going to offer just a few names that are on my heart tonight, and we can sing with them in mind as well as everyone else you're thinking of. I want to sing for the family and community of Breonna Taylor, the young Black woman, the paramedic who was shot in her bed by police in Louisville, Kentucky. It was her 27th birthday yesterday. I want to send light to the family and community of George Floyd, all the people in Houston who loved him. He was a street minister, worked with youth, had nothing but good in his heart. 60,000 people came out in the streets in Houston. And a minister said, we don't even have that many people out in the streets after an Astros win. I want to send out light to the family and community of Ahmaud Arbery in Georgia, the young Black man who was jogging and ambushed and lynched. And we know so many names: Tamir Rice, Trayvon Martin, Sandra Bland, Philandro Castile, Eric Garner, and so many. You know the names, I know the names, but it matters to say their names. I also want to lift up all the Black lives lost to the COVID virus. We know that the Black death rate is terribly much higher than other racial groups. And I want to send a lot of light to the Black mamas of sons and daughters, but also mamas giving birth, knowing that Black women of color giving birth have much more severe medical problems and outcomes due to the pre-existing condition of living with racism and institutional racism of the medical system. And I say all this not to sort of drag our souls into despair, far from it, but to know that, as Ofosu said, as Amy said, if we can make this moment into a time of transformation, if those deaths can truly wake us up, truly galvanize us in a new direction, then there is much light to be brought, and we can do it together. We are sending you light to heal you, to hold sending you light to hold you in love. We are sending you light to heal you, to hold you. We are sending you light to hold you in love. And please take a moment now, just in your own private room, muted, to say out loud a name or a situation or a group of people that you are carrying right now. Say it out loud. Hear your own voice speaking. All the Black people in prison. Esther, Manju, Catherine. And we'll send them light all together. We are sending you light to heal you, to hold you. We are sending you light to hold you in love. We are sending you light to heal you, to hold you. We are sending you light to hold you in love. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. All around my country, all around my country, I'm gonna let it shine. All around my country, I'm gonna let it shine. All around my country, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Till all people rise up free, till all people rise up free, I'm gonna let it shine. Till all people rise up free, I'm gonna let it shine. Till all people rise up free, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Love and courage everywhere, love and courage everywhere. I'm gonna let it shine, shine it. Love and courage everywhere. I'm gonna let it shine. Love and courage everywhere. I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. You and me together, we're gonna let it shine. You and me together, we're gonna let it shine. You and me together, we're gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Yeah. Yes, 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 yes. Oh, my friends. Well, we've been on a journey together. Hasn't been. Oh, thank you, solidarity. I was gonna, yeah, I was gonna invite you to write something on a piece of paper to just express something that you believe in right now that you are you want to shine out. So if anybody wants to do that, thank you. I forgot. I'm so glad somebody did it. Make a sign right now if you've got the paper and just give us a message. Send out a message. We want to see what's in your heart, what's shining from you. While you're doing that, I just want to say that this evening is supported by your donations. There definitely are costs associated with it. There's artists to give a thank you gift to my guests. There's women in Kenya that I'm in touch with who are making face masks, sewing face masks, who are making food packets to take to each other, who are helping women who are trying to earn a penny in brothels to get out of those brothels and find a way together to make a life. And I want to share our resource with them if you're willing to share that with me. So I really welcome your donations. There's a donation button on the invitation that you got in the mail. And I'll send you out a follow-up email with some of the resources tonight that I mentioned. And I will put that donate button in so you don't have to go looking for it. Raise teachers' pay, add 1,000 solar panels. All right. Unconditional love. Thank you, Nicole. Amy, I can't see yours. Get real close. Love? Yeah, I think it's love. I bet that, knowing you, Amy, I bet it's love. I see love from Shari. Oh, God, this is beautiful. What else? Love and justice, the magic combination, love and justice. Hate has no home here. Thank you, Gloria. We are, Betsy, what do you say?
You can't see mine, but it says we shall overcome.
Thank you. We are good. We are good. Betsy says we are good. Thank you. Thank you so much for that. Be intentional, says Nancy. Yes. Hope from Tina. Olivia and Truckee. Prayers. Okay, Olivia, okay, you got to unmute and say it, Olivia. I can't
Prayers
see
for the mamas and babies.
Okay, prayers for the mamas and babies. Olivia is a doula. Many of you don't know this, but I am also a doula, and